Hi, in this slideshow, what I want to do is I want to explore the hypothesis that any consistent Christianity is a heretical Christianity. And I'm going to approach this by studying the Nicene Creed. So here goes. There's an interesting characteristic of American Christianity. There's the desire to have a logical or a consistent theology. That you can somehow, God is non-contradictory, our religion is completely reasonable. You can somehow reason your way to God, therefore, this kind of thing, right? I'm going to call this position consistentism, and I'm going to call the people who hold it consistentites. And there's some prominent examples of this. Greg Kuchel, the Stand to Reason Ministries, Gordon Clark. Gordon Clark was actually tried for heresy on this particular issue. I mean, he maintained that you could make a religion completely consistent and logical, and he was tried for heresy for this. Several prominent YouTubers, you know who you are. I love you all. But I'm going to argue that consistentism is not a non-orthodox position uh, in Christianity. Uh, Now, notice this is not a slam of Christianity, right? I don't believe that being inconsistent is necessarily a bad thing. I believe that human language will inevitably lapse into contradiction when speaking about the divine. Okay, religion is about the mystery. It's about the things we can't make sense of. If it made perfect sense to us that we had to die, we would feel no need for religion. If it made perfect sense to us that bad things happen to good people, we'd feel no need for religion. Religion is one method that we use to make us feel comfortable or come to some sort of reconciliation with this absurdity, right? So I'm going to approach this by studying the Nicene Creed, and the backstory for this is Constantine had just made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire, but it was very unclear at the time what exactly is Christianity. What is this thing that we all believe in now? Compare the letters of Paul. There never was a time in the church. The letters of Paul are proof positive of this. There never was a time in the church where there was 100% uniform opinion on church doctrine. There was large disagreements, even in Paul's day, 20 years after the death of Jesus, about what the life of Jesus really meant, or what his resurrection really meant, or what it was like to be what constituted being a good Christian, or even how you were saved. Tremendous variation in opinion on this, and Constantine, really wanted to have a more consistent. He was a consistentite, I guess. Now there were several issues which needed to be resolved at the Council of Nicaea, right? I'm just going to focus on these three. Was Jesus God or was Jesus human? Was Jesus the same as God or was Jesus different from God? And was Jesus created or was Jesus uncreated? No, every possible consistent resolution to these questions has been condemned as heresy consistently by the Orthodox Church. Every single one of these, there's been consistent answers proposed to. Every single time, the Church has rejected these as being heretical. Okay? So, for example, was Jesus God or was Jesus human? Uh, there's all kinds of consistent, perfectly logical solutions have been answered to this. For example, the Gnostics and the Docetists said Jesus was not human at all. He was God. He just kind of like appeared to be a human. But the other way of resolving this has also been tried. Jesus is human but not God. Or not God but human. The Ebionites, these are the Jewish Christians, Unitarians. Orthodox Christianity has consistently said both. Okay, and this is clearly, flatly contradictory. Okay, even the Old Testament thinks this is contradictory. Compare Hosea 11:9, where God says, "I am God and not man." Okay, now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, there's no contradiction here. I mean, I know if you're an Orthodox Christian, you've been told your whole life that this isn't contradictory, but just saying it's not a contradiction doesn't mean that it is not a contradiction and does not impress me with your ability to recognize contradictions. Guys, this is flatly contradictory. Okay, another issue which the church had to resolve at the Council of Nicaea was Jesus the same as God or was Jesus different from God? Now, there was a couple options on the table here. Jesus being exactly the same, identical with God the Father, was a position known derisively as patripassionism. So when Jesus died on the cross, God himself actually died. For a while, God was just completely dead from the universe because Well, they're the same people. We're monotheists, aren't we? And this position, of course, was rejected by the Orthodox Church. But Jesus being different from God was also rejected by the Orthodox Church. Gnostics believed that Jesus was different from God, or the God of this world, as Paul perhaps describes him. The Ebionites, again, Jewish Christians, didn't really believe that Jesus was God himself. And but the main camp of this were the Arians, a fellow followers by the name of a fellow by the name of Arius, not Nazis, different Arians, believed this, that Jesus Christ was was different. Both solutions to this are completely consistent, but both solutions to this were rejected by the Council of Nicaea as heretical. They wanted to have it both ways. What does the Council of Nicaea say here? Nicene Creed, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, being of one substance with the Father. Okay, guys, the Trinitarian doctrine is explicitly contradictory. 3 is not equal to 1. Okay, and again, just because you've been told all your life that it's not contradictory, just because you say that it's not contradictory, that doesn't mean it's not contradictory. It's a contradiction. Okay, third issue I want to talk about. Was Jesus created or uncreated? Now, where does this come from? Okay, this was a big problem because if you look at, like, for example, the book of Hebrews, it talks about Jesus Christ being the only begotten Son of God, and being, you know, made higher than the angels. This kind of thing. This is a big problem for the early church. And if you read the Gospel of Mark, a good case can be made that the author of the Gospel of Mark didn't really believe that Jesus started out being God. That rather he became God at his baptism. The Spirit of God came down upon him then. That's a perfectly consistent answer to this question. Jesus Christ was begotten and then turned into God later. Perfectly consistent. The church rejected that. But then again, they kind of reject the uncreated thing too, right? Because it clearly says there that Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son of God. What the heck does only begotten Son of God mean anyway? Well, the Nicene Creed kind of glosses like this: Jesus was begotten, not made. Now, this is flatly contradictory, right? If somebody is a begotten son, then that person was created. And again, just saying that it's not a contradiction doesn't mean it's not a contradiction. It's a contradiction. Now, but notice, this is not a general slam on Christianity, okay? I'm not calling Christianity irrational here, okay? Let me use my own contradictory saying here. Okay, I describe it this way. Christianity is inconsistent, explicitly inconsistent, but it is not irrational, all right? Orthodox Christianity has refused to resolve these contradictions. It has explicitly and I think deliberately refused to resolve these contradictions. Why is this? Well, any God that you can understand can't really be God. All right? God is supposed to transcend human language or any ability to understand him. That's the whole point of God, is that you can't understand him. All right? Anything you can consistently talk about is not God. I believe this is the clear message of Orthodox Christianity. And therefore, I believe that American Christianity, or this rationalistic conception of God, that you can somehow reconcile God with reason. I believe these people are in real danger of heresy, or at least I think this is clearly an unorthodox position.